Unfortunately, I'm gonna be the hater on this card. I honestly, I do hate cards like these.
80% of the people were playing the same freaking deck.
Welcome to WWB Worldwide Broadcast. This is episode 18, and guys, we are in season 2. Woo! Season 2 of Ward. Aren't you just excited? Oh, getting another season on the way. It's gonna be a good start to the year. I guess to start off, Billy, you posted some pretty big news in the Discord. Another shout out to again the Discord. If people are watching this that are off of YouTube or listening on Spotify, and you're not in the Discord, make sure you guys get into the Discord for Ward. You just go on Discord, download it, type in Ward or Ward the Trading Card Game, and you will join that Discord, and then you can stay up to date with all the stuff that's going on. I think that's probably the best place to go. I know that on Facebook too, they're pretty good about getting all their information out there as well. Obviously the podcast helps, get that information, but yeah, definitely go in the Discord. And if you do, then you can see cool things like Billy. He started a league, the WWB League. So maybe he can talk about that a little bit if you want to dive into the.
Sure. So it's something I think we had talked about several months ago, that just kind of an idea. We're like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. And so I was just like, let's put it together. It's about time. It was a good time to do it. So it's the WWB Summer Ward Fantasy League. So the way what it is basically it's an online week by week. Think of it like a fantasy football league, but for Ward. So people register, and then each week they'll get assigned a match that they'll have to play, and you do that on Untap. And so like let's say we'll call it, I don't know, 16 people register. Then each week you'll play someone different, and you get assigned your opponent, and then you talk with your opponent like, oh, what time this week do you want to play our match? So it's completely up to you on what time you want to play. And and then so after the match is over, you just message who won, who lost. Standings get updated, and then next week you get a new opponent. And so there'll be 8 weeks of a regular season, so you get to play 8 games. And then after that, there'll be a playoff. So it'll probably be like the top half of the standings will then play a bracket style playoff to determine the winner. And top 3 get cash prizes, and then last place gets a special prize that is secret. So
I almost forgot, Billy. I forgot to say, sorry, Billy, to cut you off. I forgot to say, Billy and KC are here. Sorry. Again, KC, you're joining us. I missed that in the intro, but yeah, so you're right. And sorry, back to the tournament though. But yeah, it definitely seems like it's fun, and everybody is already talking about last place. I know in the Discord too, Casey, you're saying you're gunning for last place in the tournament to get the special prize. Everybody just wants the special prize. No one even wants to win anymore already at the beginning. It feels like. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool.
But yeah, it's open to anybody who wants. Yeah, it's just something fun, right? So it's not all about winning, Some people might want to lose. So, but yeah, so it's open to anybody who wants to play.
We call that having fun, Billy.
Yeah,
people just want to have fun.
That's what it's about, right?
People just want to have fun with it, right? Yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be an empty wrapper award.
Yeah, like I have a bunch of empty packs. It might just be mailing you all my junk. I don't know, but that's the fun of it, right? So it's a $10 buy-in. Registration is open until the end of next week, and after that, I'll make the brackets, or not bracket. I'll make the first set of matches, and kind of get an announcement going for that. So it's regular 1v1. Most weeks will be regular rules. The the regular limit ban list, whatever, just like normal Ward. But in some of the weeks, we'll sprinkle in some different formats, like Popper, for instance. So I think it'd be fun to get some different formats going, and this is kind of a, in my opinion, it's a good way to test it out, right? So We haven't had a Pauper only tournament yet, so if we make one of these weeks just Pauper only, it'd be fun to see how that goes. And also, it gives people an opportunity. Like, yeah, sure, you could test if you're like trying to test your tournament deck and like try to get some good practice on that. You can do that, but also this is going to force you to try some different decks and change it up. And you could just change it up every week and have fun if you want to. So it's just we're kind of at a little bit of a dead season, if you will. I don't know, dead season, but like we just had the World Bowl. Moment, yeah. We had
preseason.
It's a little quiet, yeah. So
preseason is probably a good way to turn.
People are enjoying, preseason. That's good.
No,
just I know people are enjoying their summer, but if you want to still be connected and have a little fun, I mean, why not? Yeah. So that's kind of the thoughts behind it.
Yeah, and then what's the date, Billy, that people can register and join? And like you were saying, it is a for fun tournament. So like, as much as you were bringing up, like you could bring your tournament like decks you want to test out for the tournaments, but for obviously like if you really do just want to have a good time and try out new cards with Ward and not feel like you're pressured to be like, oh, this means like this is official or anything. I think it's just a good use of time for everybody to just have fun with Ward, get to that spot where I know that the staff pushed it really hard of like, oh yeah, here, like we want this game to be fun, and it's like, yeah, I think it's fun. Sometimes it's good to just make some wacky decks. It's like, yes, maybe they aren't at the high end of competitive. I know we focus a lot on that side of Ward of being on like the competitive side, but like it is still fun to try some goofy shenanigans. I'm definitely gonna be in the league, and I'm gonna have some fun with like I said, messing around with some fun cards. But anyway, Billy, if people want to still register, how long do they have till? And then, just how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, sure. So today is the 19th. Registration closes the 27th of June at 5 p.m. Central. So to register, all you got to do is I put it in the post, but you just got to Venmo me $10, and then I'll put your name on the list. And then all the money from people registering, that'll be the pot. So first place will get most of the money, second place will get some of the money, and then third place they'll get the money back. So similar to like a fantasy football league, it's kind of how I'm structuring it. And then it'll run for 8 weeks. So the first week of play will be the week of June 30th, and then it'll go all the way till, I don't have it in front of me, but it's whatever 8 weeks is after that, and then 2 weeks of playoffs. And then that'll run basically into football season for anybody who's a sicko and likes to watch football. And then also I think ExcaliburCon is somewhere in there, so I know that there'll be some more activity for that. That'll be a local convention at least. So
right, but I think what you're saying is like, again, it's like one game a week. It's not too big of a commitment for anybody, and it's on Untapped, so everybody can.
Oh yeah,
everybody's able to get in and play it from all over, wherever you are. If you're in the Discord and maybe you're not from this area, it's like you're able to still play. And again, the library is open. The whole library is open, so it's like you don't need to worry about like, oh, I don't have cards or anything. Again, trying to make it as inviting as you possibly can, so that everybody can get in if they really want to play in it. So like, I really appreciate throwing on events like this, and I mean that's kind of why I think Billy really wanted to do this league, is just to let as many people get in and get as many fun games. Casey, how do you feel like kind of on the outside, seeing this? What was your reaction to the league? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's your take?
Yeah, like when I was scrolling through the Discord there just the other day and saw it, like, I was excited about it simply for the fact that you said, it's just something for fun for everybody to do. You don't have to bring the most competitive thing to the table. Like, I'm actually kind of looking forward to just not having that pressure of having to build the best thing. Like, I'm definitely going to be showing up with some like wacky off the wall deck. Like, I kind of have one that I just built last night that I'm running with Bronto. When are you ever going to see Bronto in a competitive deck? Probably not, but
he's got a big modifier. I don't know. You never know. It's not a bad card.
Yeah. So I think it's excellent. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It could bring a lot of versatility to the game. Even when you have a tournament like this and you play with decks that are, you could say not top level. Like when you play something like this, you might have a discovery that leads into something to a top level thing. Just a strategy that you're not thinking about, something you're not looking at, a tournament like this could bring something to light that's just not being looked at.
Casey, real quick, I don't know if you have like a fan or something in the back, but it's definitely picking up in your mic. You might want to just, if you got, move it or whatever.
Oh.
But no, you were coming in clear. There just was definitely some background noise. But no, you're good. But sorry, I do agree with you, and I think you make a lot of good points, Casey. It was just like you said, it's like maybe a lot of different, with having this nice. I almost want to call it like a lab for everyone to like test out their decks. It's like there could be cards like you were saying that might like show up and have way more potential in actual just competitive decks, just because people like try to use these different strategies of cards and things that people really haven't like taken too much of a look into. So it's like I really like that, and I'm pretty sure Billy, you can agree that that's kind of why another reason why you want to make this fantasy league.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you touched on the requirement, or I guess the lack of requirement to own the cards for your decks. It's kind of open. This is very experimental. Like if you want to try stuff out, you don't have all the, I don't know, maybe you want to make like a triple assassin, triple backstab deck, but you only have one of each. It's like, okay, yeah, so I could try it out and see if it actually works or not. Or I could just try something completely wacky and go for it. Another reason for that is that, I'm not trying to make this I'm not trying to ref every game. I'm not trying to do deck checks or anything like that. So that format, in my opinion, is just, it's open. Y'all know the rules. Y'all know the ban list. Go have fun. This is just for fun, right? So, like, yeah, it can be very self-governed. People just, they go play their game, and then they come back and say, okay, he won, I lost, whatever. So.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And like you said, again, if anybody wants to sign up, like Billy was saying, again, just you got to Venmo him, and then also make sure that, sorry, Billy, it was Venmo, and then is that kind of it? And then you're just registered in, or you have to send some information in?
No, that's it. Yeah, I mean, Venmo me with and then put in the comment like your Discord name or whatever.
Gotcha.
And if you don't have Venmo, just shoot me a message. We figure Cash App, PayPal, whatever. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out on that end. But yeah, definitely message Billy, and just like I said, if you want to get in the league, all you got to do is just give him your information. Like you said, he'll figure out the rest, and it's not like any of those things will be a burden. I'm sure we can continue go into the league even if you got to get whatever thing figured out. I mean, we just want as many people in and as involved as we can. So yeah, I think that'll be really fun for the preseason to just kind of have this little fun little format of a league that we can just use to help people. If people are still itching to play some Ward or want to get into it, I think it'll be a great opportunity for everybody. Moving forward, thing that a lot of people have been excited about are the boss battles. In the last episode, I talked a lot about boss battles. I personally haven't played too much with like the new boss battles, but I think we have Casey on, and if you know in the Discord, he's been posting some of his boss battles that he's been doing and testing it out, and I thought maybe me and Billy and Casey, we could walk through just kind of our experiencing with like dealing with the new bosses, kind of how the initial reaction is to just getting to finally play the bosses. I haven't really gotten to share with anybody, and so Casey, if you want to take the floor, maybe just talk about your experience with the boss battles.
Yeah. I'm just kind of, cracked them open, start at the bottom, Frog King, least powerful, and I want to work my way to the top. So trying to take down the Frog King in all three modes before I move on to the next boss and just kind of go up that way. Yeah, I mean, when I first opened the Frog King, very first game I actually lost to it just because I had to run through a game to kind of see how the boss deck operated, so I kind of get it. So I played them, and I had a couple of cards in my deck that were kind of useless against the boss. So I had to I changed up a couple of cards, played them again, and was able to take them down by myself. So even though I won, I changed a few more cards after that, and I went on to hard mode. And I think I actually killed the Frog King on my first try in hard mode. And then I jumped to Nightmare, and I lost to the Frog, I think once or twice. And again, had to adjust my deck again to be able to take him down on Nightmare. So
Yeah, it's kind of crazy though. Like you're saying, like I remember my first initial reaction when I finally seen the way that they set up Nightmare and everything. Because I mean, like Billy can talk on this too. It's like when we were doing prototypes, Nightmare mode was I don't think anywhere like as challenging as they kind of ramped it up as when they released the set. And so like I think it was like kind of crazy when I seen like, oh, this is how much like how many stats and things the nightmare mode will have. Like I honestly thought it was like people are not going to be able to like conquer nightmare mode like going forward. And I guess I'm curious, Billy, is that kind of how you felt too? Like it's going to be pretty tough to like beat nightmare mode especially by yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, my initial I guess the beta test nightmare mode, I was like, it was definitely harder. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a good challenge. And I guess they just thought, you know what, just kick it up a notch. Why not? And I honestly didn't think anybody could beat nightmare mode by themselves on any of the bosses. So it's now, granted, I haven't tried it yet. So kudos to KC to go and doing the hard work and figuring it out. At least his first couple runs. So I've always kind of seen boss decks as like, okay, I should qualify. I got the Frog King, and then I got the three, like the Chrono Dragon, Baron, and then Alvarine. And I'm like basically certain that you can't do any of those by yourself. So I'm just like treating it as like, oh, if I got a bunch of people, a bunch of friends, like, oh, or Eric wants to play with me, I was like, okay, let's play those together. It was like it's a co-op thing. Right. So, but yeah, I'll have to try the Frog King on Nightmare mode. It's really interesting. A lot of the cards in my head, the way I think of it, like 1v1, I have like almost like my own like tier list in my head. Like what cards are really good and what cards are just okay. And a lot of those cards that are really good are essentially useless on the bosses, so I have to like recalibrate. Like I love Magic Steel, can't use it on the boss. Like I mean you can, but all the Magic cards say affect the boss, equip to the boss, whatever. So
Yeah.
stuff like that, kind of a little bit of a recalibrating of what cards are good for the boss and what are not, and I think it also gives some good use to cards that are maybe not used as much, so because they're better when fighting the boss.
Yeah, maybe KC can kind of give a little, like you said, he's done some of that testing. I mean, KC, what like you were saying, you took out some cards out of your deck and you had to readjust. I mean, what did you end up finding that was like the best way to like handle, dealing with a boss, or like what cards did you see yourself gravitating towards more?
I mean, running solo on the bosses, especially on Nightmare, their hit point pool is so huge. You really got to be cranking out the damage, and it's got to be consistent. So, just going with, Assassin, like in a normal game, I mean, sure, it's a powerful hit. You're going to kill that one thing, but it's just a glass cannon. It's not really going to cut it against the boss. I mean, you get your one strong hit, and Assassin's going to die on the crackback. So, you need something out there that's going to hang around a bit and is going to be cranking your damage out. And I mean, I've only played the Frog King and the Knight of Ember so far, but on all three modes, and I've taken them down on all three modes. And the card that I've leaned on the hardest is God Killer Brox. When those bosses they got a couple cards in their deck that'll pump their armor. So as soon as they hit 12 armor and they activate Brox, I mean, he just goes wild on a boss for all those large hits. So again, it's like you got to gravitate to that large hits to really be taking them down. So I was playing with Creator's Gift and Flame of the Infinite, things that'll give Brox extra dice to his combat and really quadruple up that damage. And the way that I actually took down Knight of Ember on Nightmare is I got an assassin out. I had an assassin out there, and I had Ward United. So I sacrificed the assassin to play Brox, which took me up to him rolling 5 dice and having +10 for a modifier. So, and then with a couple of Creator's Gifts and a Flame of the Infinite out, I think I was rolling 12 dice with Brox. And my killing blow was I drew backstab off the top of my deck, and I was like, oh my god, if this connects, I'm done. I got this. And yeah, I rolled the check for it, and it made it. So
Nice.
it wound up being, I want to say 848 damage, I think is what I did to him.
Pretty
So, I
big,
mean,
pretty big hit.
oh yeah, I
That's
mean,
crazy.
but I had a couple hits, just normal hits in there with God Killer Brock by himself. He was doing like 200 plus. So,
Right.
and I got a blood of the bat on him. So he was like almost essentially invincible. Like, and the boss hit was just completely negated by my own attack.
Right. I think
But
definitely going into, dealing with bosses, I think you stumbled onto a Casey. The Blood of the Bat, I think, is definitely just going to be a card because, like you said, it's like the boss has a card called Breakout that like affects everything that's not affecting him, and it destroys all those cards. But it's like Blood of the Bat, like things like that don't get destroyed. Um,
yep.
I know you were talking about against Cosmogus off camera, but you basically just said like you don't think like you could beat Cosmogus on Nightmare mode by yourself. What's the thought about that? Is some of the bosses just eventually they just get to be too strong where it's like one person can't take them on alone?
I think so. Yeah, the boss's abilities are just too strong for one player to be able to handle. Like, for example, here, you go Nightmare mode on Cosmagus, and says the boss is unaffected by the player's creature effects and magic cards. Well, that shuts Brock's off. Like, I mean, my best bet for taking down Frog King and Nightmare just flat out doesn't work against him anymore. So I'd have to find another source to be able to do major damage to a boss, and I
Well,
don't know if there
well, you
is
have to be
one.
careful with that because like cards like Assassin, it's like her modifier only affects her damage, so it's like that shouldn't count towards the boss because it's like I'm pretty sure. I was thinking Alvarine. That's the only one that I can think that when you play on Nightmare mode, I think it does. It makes it so you can't have modified damage. Like your modifiers don't work anymore. But I'm pretty sure, even though it's like if a card like Cosmogus, it just says it's unaffected by creature effects. I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean you can't do like more like the multiplicative damage to them. I could be wrong, but at
It's
least
like
that's the
no, I read it like it's got that effective Steam creature,
yeah, like
where
Steam
it's like,
Rex.
for example, Steam Rex. Like I could still hit it with a 3x assassin, but
Yeah, or
um,
backstab it.
yeah, but like Psychic Toad doesn't work, right? So,
Right.
well, Psychic Toad doesn't work anyway, but maybe bad example.
The other
No.
huge thing about Cosmagus too is he destroys all magic on the field on his turn, all the time.
Yeah,
So
that could be
yeah,
problematic.
yeah, you're gonna fall behind in card advantage.
Yeah.
Like immediately, you won't be able to sustain anything. So I don't see how it's possible by yourself.
No, for
Especially,
sure.
I mean, maybe on normal because just there's nothing special there, so you might be able to just hack his hit points down and get him. But Nightmare, I don't think so.
Well, and I think you're kind of coming to the crux of the whole reason why they made boss battles is they wanted
Yeah.
they want you to play with friends. Like as much as I do love the like I'm gonna be the solo man to take on like the Chrono Dragon. It's like you don't get to do that. Like I don't think anybody's can 1v1, especially with at least with the cards in Ward. But like you said, I think that is the exciting thing because I mean they're talking about potentially having like a boss battle like season that goes alongside like the competitive season. And so it's like if they have these big raid bosses, I think that'll just be such an exciting event to have a bunch of people come to fight these bosses. And I know we were kind of criticizing them about just like how strong these like raid bosses will be. Well, the way they buffed up these nightmare modes, if these raid bosses are on nightmare mode, and everybody's fighting these things, I don't know, like you said, Casey, it's card like if it's blowing up the board every turn, like a lot of advantage of most of the board cards like equipment, and it's like you're just losing all that every turn. Like I don't know, I'm a little worried about how strong these raid boss fights might be against some of these guys, because yeah, it's like, oh god, like with all these nightmare modes I've been reading and stuff on these for these decks, it's like I don't know, it's definitely going to be terrifying if that is kind of what you have to deal with in those raids. What's your guys'
Yeah.
thoughts?
It's
Are you looking forward to the raid boss?
Tough. That's the point.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to the season, to potentially maybe a season of boss battles? Is that something you guys would want to get into yourselves?
I'd love that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I'm only friends with so many people locally who can play Ward, and you can only get so many of them together at the same time. And,
Right.
you know, if I can get a max of like, I don't know, 6, 8 people, I don't know if you can beat some of these things on Nightmare Mode, you know, with that many people. And then everyone has to have like top tier boss decks, right? So I think the raid events is going to be really good because it'll give like a central gathering. You'll get more people, which, you know, honestly, some of these bigger bosses, you might just need to outnumber them. I mean, like Chrono Dragon, its effect is it freezes one player at random on the team where they can't do anything, which means it's literally impossible to solo Chrono Dragon.
Yeah, because
but you know, if you have
return,
12, 15, 16 people fighting it, you know, then that effect is reduced and you get more firepower on it. So yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be a great thing. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely want to dip my toes into it as much as I will admit I probably am still a little bit more on like the competitive side of like just playing like standard Ward against like, you know, 1v1 opponents. I personally definitely want to at least give it, you know, go to a couple of these raids because you gotta admit like having a whole group of guys show up just jacked, ready to be like, hey, we're taking down this raid boss, and everyone's got their decks, and you're I can already tell that environment is just so great. Like, and you just have everybody on a team trying to work together. I think it'll definitely be a fun spectacle to have in Ward. Is just like another means to get everyone together in a big group to have a bunch of fun. And so yeah, definitely like the boss battles, and sounds like you guys will be in for them too. So I expect to see Casey and Billy. You know, as I pointed out, Elkanos. We're all running Elkanos, right? Everybody's just gonna put 5 Elkanos on the field, so we all get the big buffs. We might not be able to affect the opponent's creature.
I refuse on principle.
We can't affect the boss, but at least we can affect all of our Elkanos, right, guys?
If you run Elkanos. If you run Alkanost, I'm bringing an Iron Range in my deck.
Yeah, that's what the raid bosses are going to turn into. Is everybody just starts cucking you get to a point where people are just playing. Like, people want to get the last kill on the boss, so when people try to go kill the boss, someone plays Hourglass of Time just so that you might not do as much damage to kill it, so they get a shot at killing the boss.
That's funny.
We got to be careful. There might be a bunch of trolls.
Get someone who's like secretly.
Yeah, they're like
someone's secretly on the boss team.
Yeah, the ward staff tell them. The ward staff tell them, all right, your job is to sabotage this whole game. Good luck. That's funny.
Saboteur.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we're getting out of hand. Let's not give them any more ideas. They're already sneaky enough with all their stuff. We don't need to give them more stuff to be doing. But all right, moving on from the boss battles, let's do some. I would like to do some irresponsible takes. So I did a couple about the new season and what my thoughts were going into the new season. I'm very curious. Oh geez, my phone. Let's shut that off. Sorry, silence that. I want to go into your guys's irresponsible takes for this new season. I think that would be very fun to do. Have both of you kind of give your takes on what exactly you guys are feeling, or where you're at, where your thoughts are at with this new season, especially after Ward Bowl. I mean, Billy, Casey, you showed up too. Like, you guys kind of got to see like what was going on at the highest level at Ward Bowl. Like, where do you think we're gonna go from the Ward Bowl here now? And obviously this, the California tournament. I mean, I'll cover that with Alec, and you guys will get to hear about that too. So it's like, where do you think the meta is where is everything at with Ward for this new season, and what are some hot takes that you think people aren't thinking about? So maybe we'll start with Billy. Billy, you wanna start with a hot take, or how are you feeling?
Yeah, man. My irresponsible take is I don't know how irresponsible what is it? Because they've said publicly that they want this to happen. So I'm gonna just say it's probably gonna happen. My irresponsible take is that the next season could be. I don't know if dominated is the right word, but I think we're gonna have a big focus on AL12s and the big boys. I think Ward United gives a much needed buff to sacrificing because the mechanic is just extremely costly.
So wait. What is this hot? What is the hot take?
Mechanic being sacrificing.
Sorry, what's the hot take? AL12s.
My hot take is that the hot take is AL12s are going to dominate the tournament scene.
Okay, AL12s are going to dominate the tournament scene. Casey, how do you feel about that? I don't know. I think there's still a lot to do with them, but Billy's going to make that argument that they're going to dominate. All right, Billy. So you keep going.
The hot take. That's the hot take.
Ward United.
Yeah, well,
all right.
So
come on, tell us all about it.
They currently don't. Yeah, well, they don't now because or they didn't previously because sacrificing is just extremely costly in a game where you lose if your cemetery goes to 300, and in order to get these AL12s out, you have to add to that. And I've been thinking about it for a while. Like, how do you There's nothing to fix. It's just that's the cost. So, like, how do you make the cost worth it? It's like, do you just power scale AL12s to infinity and make new cards? It's like, no, you don't really want to do that because then all the previous ones are not very good. So I think Ward United is a really good add to that. And I suspect we're going to see a lot of people running decks focused on Ward United because you can make some crazy... You can make the AL12s worth it. And truly, like, if you can get like a 15 plus 15 anything AL12 on the field, like, that's hard to deal with no matter what you're running. So I think the tournament scene's going to shift that direction. That's my take.
Oh, do you want to go first, Casey, or do you want? I kind of got a little bit of thought about this, but what's your thought on it, Casey? First, how do you feel about that? Is that a hot take or irresponsible?
I actually kind of disagree that I don't think AL12s are going to dominate the tournament.
It's fair take.
Yeah. I do agree with Billy that Ward United is a very strong card. I think it's going to have a high impact. I don't think it necessarily has to be on an AL12 creature. It could just about be on anything, really. I guess my hot take is I would think speed is going to be more of a factor than AL. Being able to go first in combat all the time seems to be major, especially when your opponent has to go to make the choice of going to combat, knowing that you're going to hit them first. I think that might be more of a fact. That's my hot take. I think speed will be more of a factor than AL.
Well, a hot take on a hot take. Oh, we're getting out of control here. But I do like how you I do like how you rebutted the Billy. I'm also gonna have to kind of slightly disagree with Billy. I think at least with the way, like you said, Ward United, I think will be used by just about every deck that can sack. I would be surprised if people aren't going to use it for sacking decks that are sacking. I just think instead of AL12s, I think what you're going to do is sack AL12s for creatures that are sack creatures that have somewhat of good effects to make, and basically you're going to utilize, like I said, the stats of an AL12, but on a smaller creature with a better effect. I honestly think that will be the way that card probably will function in its in like the best form, at least in my head, and that's kind of my argument. So like I disagree. It's going to be AL12s that are the one that are like the better cards. Kind of more in the vein of what Casey was saying is like AL7, 8s, like we have to rethink like how all those cards, whatever ones have like somewhat of effects. I find when I look at or I think in my head, it's like most of those are still vanilla creatures, like a lot of those sack creatures. I think the biggest one that came to our heads when we were bringing up it the last time, Billy. I can't remember if you were with us there, Casey, but we were talking about Hero. Hero is going to be a crazy. Now imagine sacking, imagine sacking a Cosmic Demon or whatever for Hero. And now he already has 6/6 stats plus his 3/3, so now you're at 9/9. And then every guy he kills, he's just getting another dice and another modifier. I think Hero here, maybe this is a hot take, but maybe not now that I'm giving it away. But I think Hero will be the best Ward United card that exists in Ward at this moment. Well, we all just took Billy's hot take and we all just exploded into like this is an inferno. We have a big inferno volcano going on over here.
That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Is I feel like Ward United is going to be more impactful. Doesn't necessarily have to be on AL12. You know, like you said, those smaller creatures get that effect on the right guy. Could be serious, could be major.
Yeah, I just think the saddest thing is that I think Giant Rat is going to get taken out of every deck. I don't know. Is that a hot take? Is this a hot take?
That's a hot take.
That's a hot. All right, fine.
Yeah.
That'll be my hot take because of cards like Ward United and a lot of these bigger cards. I think Giant Rat will be taken out because why would you want? It's a good sack card, but now if you are trying to set up Ward United, I guess the way I look at it is if you can't get Ward United out, maybe you still just want to have it for those sacks. If that is the deck you're running, I guess that could make a lot of more sense, but. In my opinion, it's one card that potentially like doesn't really let you set up Ward United, and so it's like maybe it's like a get out of jail free if you're like still need to sack for something. But I think Giant Rat might actually just like kind of be gone out of sack decks if people are running Ward United. There, that's my hot take. I said it. You want that?
I don't know.
Giant Rat.
One Ward United.
Get rid of that nasty rat. I'm turning into Tyler in this one. Get rid of the nasty rats. I don't like all those rat creatures.
I like the rats.
But yeah, what do you guys think? Is that a hot take? I don't know.
That's a hot take for sure. Giant Rat's a great card.
I think it is a great card.
I think Giant Rat's a great card. I think you might be right. Though,
I'm convincing Casey. Let's go. Yes. I just think, like you said, it's like it's hard to say because like if you have a sack deck in general, Giant Rat is a good card just to get out a free sack. Like you're not putting anything. You know what I mean? It's like it is still a good card. So it's like I'm making my argument against myself, but like I kind of see where you're coming from, Billy. And like Casey, like it's just like you could still have Giant Rat just in case because like the big thing we're not saying is it is a promo card. You only can have one Ward United, so it's like you can't just rely that your deck is always going to function with just that one card. And like I think that's something people are going to need to be careful of playing that card is like, yes, the fantasy is super high, but you still got to have the card out and you got to keep it on the field, and there's just a bunch of
it's also a field card that you and your opponent get to use, which means they get to also use it. So
right,
you have the card in your deck in there and in their deck if they're running it. So
no, exactly.
But playing a game against the boss the other day, I kind of found out that Angel is pretty darn nice with Ward United.
Because then you're just taking back out the creature you're sacking. Or no, how does that work? Yeah, because you'd sack, right, Billy? Is that how Angel works? You sack, and then you can just take the creature out because he's in the cemetery. Okay, yeah, no, that's
good. Yeah, the most common use case for Angel is you just take the sack creature back out. My thought with Angel is that with Ward United, it's going to get used a lot more because my thought was I'm going to sack a Dragon of Time with Angel, with Ward United on the field, then I get a 3+22 Angel. Like, that's pretty sick.
Yep. I guess that's what you're... And you're just making my argument even better, Billy, about the whole AL12 thing. It's just better to sack the AL12 to get their stats than sack for them with Ward United, right? Like, it's hard to say that it's not going to end up that way. Again, I hate Dragon of Time, and I swear they need to. They're gonna ban it. Maybe that's my hot take.
No way are they gonna ban it.
Nope. I'm saving that. Nope.
Unbelievably hot.
I'm saving that.
Unbelievably hot take.
I'm saving that. All right, let KC get his hot take, but now you know where my brain's at. Now you know where my brain's at.
I don't think Dragon of Time's going anywhere. His effect is just too random. Sure, it's powerful, but it's too random.
Oh,
you can sit down and play a game and never hit that roll to wipe the board of limited summons.
Billy just said sacking it with Angel to turn it into a 3/20. I don't think it's gonna get like banned because of its effect. I think it's gonna get banned because this card is stupid. Like, come on, guys. Why do I have to convince people so hard that this card is ridiculous? Like, come on.
Let me tell you why.
No doubt it'll be a hard hit, but it's still just an Angel with a giant modifier. It'll go down. It's got 70 hit points.
Yeah.
Also, you twist her once and then it's done. Like, you're overreacting.
I can't wait to say I'm right, and I'm gonna be the first one. As soon as they have to ban that card, I'm gonna look at all of you guys and I'm gonna go, you guys suck. I told you this card needed to get banned, and I understood, and everyone's gonna understand. As soon as we see this card in competitive, you're all gonna understand how crazy this card is.
Man, if they won't even limit Assassin, I don't think they're gonna ban Dragon Time.
Ooh.
There you go.
All right, Casey, give us a hot take. Sorry, we're taking the floor here, and unfortunately, stealing it.
Yeah, like my hot take was that AL12s wasn't gonna. That was gonna be my one. If you started with me, I was gonna say AL12s aren't gonna be that impactful.
Billy stole it. Wow. But then you were talking about speed, so maybe you could make yours. Yours is more of the fact that you think speed is the biggest factor.
Yeah, I think speed will be the biggest factor. I don't know, I feel like there's so much stuff to be able to buff your attack to hit an AL12. Like, it won't be as difficult as you think it might be. I want to say that I feel like armor matters a lot less than speed. I think that going first in combat is the bigger advantage than having an AL12. Like I said, always going first in combat and then passing the turn to your opponent, and then them choosing whether or not it's worth going to battle, knowing that they're going to get hit first, and especially when the game is a point when their creature could possibly die from yours. Then they're really under pressure to figure out what's the best play. Like, armor's just armor. Like, I don't know. When you're able to hit it, you're able to hit it. Like, but speed, something you can't really get away from. I don't really ever see people playing stuff to buff their speed very much. And I feel like I'm a big fan of Beowulf, just always going first. He's the
I was just about to say
assassin stopper.
What do you think about that?
Creeper killer.
Well, here, what do you think, Billy? How do you feel about the whole speed? Like, does that feel like that's something that a lot of people undervalue and like overlook?
Yeah, for sure. I was the whole time that Casey was talking, like, dang, this guy sounds like he loves Beowulf, and then he's like, oh, you Beowulf? It's like, yeah. It does. I think it's overlooked because people care more about getting their big hits in. But yeah, maybe speed's going to start to matter a lot more when everyone's hitting really hard. If everyone's hitting really hard, it's like now it matters who gets to hit first. So
yeah.
I'm not going to disagree.
In my first thought about it, I think it's not a very hot take. I think you're right, Casey. Like, just in a game where, like, think about Assassin, and rogue. It's like these cards, that's their whole identity, is they need to be the first one to hit. So it's like these things aren't like a new concept that I feel like, at least at the high end of Ward, that it's like, yeah, those things exist and they are very powerful. Billy will attest the assassin is insane. Assassin with a couple equips can literally just one shot 100 HP creatures. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot for it. But again, it is gated by the whole speed aspect of it. And so it's like, in my honest opinion, I do think speed isn't like the most valuable stat. I think HP is, and I think the Ward Bowl really did kind of demonstrate this a little bit better. And also, I like to use Billy's Squire Iron Squire deck too. Is like decks that have been winning tournaments lately have been decks like I said, like Billy's Iron Squire. He won 2 tournaments in a row. He literally has just 100 HP creatures, 3 of them, and it's just like HP matters a lot. And then what's the other deck? Elkanost. Elkanost gets to have 3 creatures with 80 HP, and it's like these are the decks that are finding like ways to win, that I find just give you like HP just gives you more time to like get through things. Like back to your speed analogy, Casey, I had threw on the last WWB tournament, and basically a lot of people did run 3 assassins, 3 Bearwolf. They had Raccoon Knight, and like all these little creatures that are very fast and hit hard. And like you were kind of saying, Casey, it's like it actually didn't end up being a good strategy, because what would happen is your creatures would keep dying so fast that every creature that dies, you're taking a card basically out of your hand. And so like people were having like no hand, and they just didn't have enough like creatures left that could last long enough, so they didn't get time to find their pieces that they needed. So I actually think like HP, if anything, is definitely something that people really want to think about when they're building their decks, because like as I said, I mean, decks like Iron Squire, decks like Elkanost, it's like that is what made them, in my opinion, is stronger than they are. Especially like here, even back when Tyler ran Maniac, I think what had made Maniac annoying, it was doing almost assassin level damage, and it has like 100 HP before it got reverted back, and that's why they had to do the change, because it was just way too oppressive. And Casey, you're lucky you didn't have to live in that era of it was. I mean, Tyler will say it wasn't that crazy, but I mean, it still was very hard to deal with when you have creatures like that with 100 HP. That it's like you just can't deal with them.
I think it was only oppressive because of the era we were in with Gen 2 only. I think once you mix the gens, it wouldn't have been a problem at all. So I think that's where Tyler's coming from. It wasn't that crazy.
That's fair. I agree at this point. It's probably not that crazy, but I'm just trying to iterate the point of like, I think HP, at least at high end competitive, usually tends to be like the biggest stat in my opinion, where it's like speed. I do agree. Speed is very important, but it's definitely not like the end all be all, like it wins the games, I guess, in my opinion. But yeah, I like the take. Like I said, if you want to go into the comments, and everybody, if you want to tell us what hot take you think is the hottest. Billy, I hope everyone just goes Dragon of Time now, just because they're just like, ban Dragon of Time. I'm gonna get it banned, Billy.
There's nothing to ban.
All right, fine. You know me, Billy. I'm the guy who like preemptively just tries to get everything to get rid of it. Wrath of the Old Ones, one tournament. I got that banned pretty quick. Don't you worry, Billy. All right. Well, with that, guys, we're winding down. Any final thoughts about just Ward in general? Where we're at. I know, Billy, I'm sure your brain is fully on getting that league, all situated and getting ready to set that all up. Casey, where are you kind of at with Ward? I mean, how are you feeling? You're doing the boss battles. I mean, you looking forward to this next season?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally looking forward to being in next season, since I wasn't in the last one.
Heck yeah.
I mean, kind of when I found out that I was, I started playing Ward at the tail end of the season. I only went to 2 tournaments that actually, had points for ranking for when you finished or whatever. So like, I didn't even bother signing up for Ward Bowl because I thought I had no chance. I'm like, I'm at the end of the season with 2 tournaments. Like, how am I getting in with that? So I didn't even bother. And then Scott signed up and he got in with no wins at all. And I'm like, man, if I would have signed up, I would have been in because I had a couple of wins.
Yeah, no, like you said,
So, yeah, I'm
It's
totally
funny.
looking forward to season 2. You know, I'm gonna make it to as many tournaments as I can. Yeah, I love cruising the tournament circuit, and it's a lot of fun.
yeah, top those rankings. You might be the next one. You know, Casey, you'll be rocking it. How about you, Billy? How are you? What are you looking forward to with Ward right now?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the summer league. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good chance to test out some stuff and maybe get some ideas before a lot of the local tournaments start ramping up. And yeah, I'm excited to see how these promos play in competitive scene. It seems like every round of promos, there's always one card that stands out as like, oh, this is really useful. And the first set of promos, it was Egg Taroth because having a 5+5 10 HP is phenomenal. In the second round, it was Scarlet because everyone hates her, and her effect is awful. And this one, I mean, I'd like to say it's Ward United, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Moon Owl is an annoying, terrible creature to deal with, and your tag team is Moon Owl and Giant Rat. You Giant Rat hater. So
No, 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 no,
yeah, I
no,
don't know. I'll
no.
find out. And then,
Wait, Billy. I don't mean to cut you off. I need to get something put out there right now. I think, not really a hot take, but I think that Moon Owl will be the reason that Sack Goat will be playable. And I am ecstatic because honestly, as much as I act like I hate Sack Goat, I just want that card to be played, and I want it to be the card that activates Moon Owl. Yes, Billy, you heard me. This is yes.
What does that mean? What do you mean? That doesn't even make sense.
Okay,
No,
the fact that
explain yourself. That's just
Moon Owl is AL12. No offense, I feel like when we seen the first preview of Moon Owl, I swear it was not
it's
AL12.
not.
Billy. All right, I'm about to bust this out. Moon Owl is AL12.
It's not AL12.
It is.
No, it's like AL9.
Nope, I just looked at the stats.
It's not AL12.
Billy, don't do this.
There's
now.
no way.
Now we're gonna bust.
It is AL12.
No, you don't do this.
It is AL12, Billy. See? Now you're going to make me do this in front of everybody on the podcast. All right, Billy. It's fine.
It is. It's a 12.
I
I
know.
was just looking at it earlier too.
Yep, Moon Owl. I even got 2 copies of it. AL12, Speed 12, and 70 HP, Billy. Let me pull it out for you, too.
Well,
Yeah, Billy. Look at this guy. See?
Fine, pull it
Look at
out.
him. Look at him. Zoom in camera.
why do I feel like it was never an AL?
I thought that's what I thought too,
Why do I
Billy.
feel like it was
That's what I was
an
telling you.
AL12?
I thought with the sneak peek that we seen of it, I thought it was less, and I thought maybe we were saying how strong it was going to be for boss battles and things. And I'm curious if they like fixed it and changed it. But I feel like they were probably already done with the whole like design by the time we even talked about it. So it's like I don't know, but. See, this is why Sack Goat is going to be needed, Billy. I'm glad you went on this tangent. Dude, you just hit like my like happy button as soon as I'm ecstatic to make a deck that has Sack Goat and Moon Owl because I think Sack Goat is going to be the best way to bring out Moon Owl to actually make it like a worthwhile card. Heck yeah. Yeah, look at that.
They straight up
Yeah.
they changed it because it wasn't AL9.
That's what I thought too, and that's what I was saying. We
the
thought it was
image-
going to be so busted. I can't wait to get one of the people or one of the staff on and talk about that because I agree. Anyway, sorry, that was a crazy tangent. Yeah, with that, I mean, Billy, sorry, I'm kind of cutting you off, but yeah, looking forward to those cards. I am also looking forward to see how those promo cards interact. I'm also looking to see how the rankings shake up, like you were saying, KC, and obviously, yeah, this league, back to the WWB league. I mean, I have to say, like self promoting it, Billy did a whole bunch of work with it, so please give him a props and make sure you guys say thank you to everybody who's in the league because yeah, he's putting in a lot of the work. And again, if you want to get into the league, let's register with Billy. Make sure you send him your information. Make sure you Venmo him the $10. Like I said, $10 is I feel like is very reasonable and just, helps everybody have, I'm assuming the prize pool goes towards all those things. So again, it's just a fun thing. So it's like those are stuff we can look forward to while we're waiting for, in a sense, the season to start up again. So yeah, I think that covers a lot of it. Again, episode 18, guys, of WWB. Thank you again. Like, subscribe, comment, go in there, chat, talk all about it. Laugh at Billy because he thought that Moon Owl was AL9 instead of AL12. It's all good. We'll get him with it. But all right, you guys have a great night, and we'll see you next week.